The Unpodcast is brought to you by Emma. Get more from your email marketing.
In a world where QR codes kill kittens and customer service is an oxymoron, one podcast has set out to make things right. This is the Unpodcast with your hosts, Scott Stratten and Allison Kramer.
Coming to you live from B-Town Sound Studios in Burlington, Ontario, Canada, North America, Western Hemisphere. And they've expanded the facilities. If you don't watch this, which many of you don't, but if you did, you can see we've expanded the entire room. We record like rock stars. That's how this works.
I want to have a party. I just feel like we could put like
our 200th.
We could do it differently this time. Because last time we recorded, we had people like all around us.
We'll
and
be
I feel
up
like
on the stage.
We could have like an audience. It'd be great.
Yeah, without them sitting behind me and me wondering what they're doing.
I don't know how I'm going to keep you. We'd have to make some serious changes to that stage before you could sit on it. I can tell already that you're like, you want to be touching everything that was up there all the time.
I'd stage dive
into the crowd.
Yeah.
I don't know if marketers would catch it. I'm just saying.
No, they wouldn't.
I'm not sure that would be a wise choice.
Bunch of middle-aged people.
Yeah.
Jump into them, hit the floor.
Yeah, it wouldn't be good.
I've already fallen off one stage.
Yeah, we don't need to fall off anymore.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us in the now coming into summer.
Yeah.
By the way.
Hooray for summer.
Hope you're enjoying it. I can't get over, now that we've expanded our friends or our acquaintances past our people who we grew up with, in our area. Now we're friends with people all over the place. Mm-hmm. That the different times that kids are done school.
Yeah, but in the States, I think mid-August, like some kids are already getting out of school.
Yeah, summer. Yeah, exactly. I saw somebody posted. So we're
not mid-August. I meant they go back.
Right.
They go back before us.
So we're recording this near the end of May, and people are like, kids are done in 2 days.
Yeah.
Right, and they go back in August. Some people school the whole year. Some go till the end of June. Some mid. Like it was weird. It used to be like third week of June. We're done.
We've got 2 that are done the second week of June, and then 2 that are done like the last week of June because the high school, grade school,
too,
difference. But yeah, I was surprised by that too. I remember when we first started becoming friends with people in the States and hearing that their kids were already done, and then they were going. We were still like full summer, like mid-August, and they were already going back to school.
Yeah, just July and August seems like
summer to us.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know. Who knows? We don't even know how many kids we have anymore. That's how it works. On to the show today. Many different things. Good things, Nintendo. Bad things, Yale Dean.
We have a lot of university stories, actually, today. There's a collection of education stories.
Oh, it's just all over the place. WestJet doing good, as usual. High school journalists taking down somebody. Yeah, this is the...
We have, like, education in a good story sandwich today.
With Nintendo and WestJet to round out both ends of it. All that and nothing more brought to you by Emma. Go to myemma.com/unpodcast for tips and tricks. I'm waiting for the graphic to come up. I don't see it.
You know what the graphic looks like. It's a lady and her hair is like neatly curled under and she's got glasses on and she makes you happy.
Our video guy has an undisclosed drinking issue that he's just kind of falling asleep and not switching the graphic over. So if we had a graphic, it would be Emma right now.
And the new is the new webinar all
if you go to that
full steam ahead on their site?
If you go to myemma.com/podcast, you should see the Eminar.
Good. Made up word.
Thank you.
Eminar.
Made up word. Eminar. I like that.
Yeah, excellent.
It was just a total brain fart. High on allergy meds, and that worked. But there should be the unwebinar.
The new one. The second.
Third?
The third.
The end of the trilogy.
Yeah, we had a lot. No, not the end.
Well, a trilogy's 3, so that's the end of the trilogy.
That's true. But, I mean, we're going to do more.
Well.
We're going to do more.
As long as they keep sponsoring.
Scott has taken too much allergy medication today. So I may need to rein him in a few times during this episode.
Not as bad, hopefully, as that train wreck episode from a few months ago. But, hey, we shall see. By the way, I'm also overwhelmed by the number of people who listen to this show with their children.
Yeah, we get a lot of messages from people who listen with their children. Yeah. But I've been listening to How I Built This with the kids. And they really like it.
That's a good show.
Like professional and stuff.
Yeah, it's professional. Guy, the interviewer, who I thought didn't know his name was Guy. I just thought people were like, "Come on, Guy," and his name's Guy.
Yeah, his name's Guy.
Great research, great questions. Yeah, but you can learn something from that show.
Yeah,
what do you learn from this show?
But you know what?
Don't be a moron.
But unfortunately, what they're learning is that you don't need to go to university, because I didn't do the research ahead of time, and so we've been listening to the podcast, and every single episode now is like someone who they didn't listen to their parents. They went their own way. I'm like, no, bad parenting. So yeah.
The founder of Airbnb dropped out in grade 10.
I've made a horrible mistake that way, but
yeah. Well, this guy didn't go to school. Well, okay, sure.
I made a mistake.
You're still going.
But yeah, a lot of people seem to listen to the Unpodcast with their kids. So hey, kids.
So children listening right now, don't
listen to your parents.
I thought it was don't listen to your parents. Wasn't that the moral?
I don't know. It's a complicated moral.
Yeah, I don't know.
How I built this is filled with the don't listen to your parents moral.
Hey kids, you'll be fine. How is the? You got the latest spinner? I don't know
what's cool right now.
I'm trying to be cool with them. It just makes it weird.
We should never try to be cool.
Well, yeah. Is your spinners on fleek? Is that what it is? Does anybody know? Are spinners on fleek? Does anybody know what it is?
No one is gonna know that here.
Don't say on fleek.
Don't say on fleek.
Oh, you're the coolest one here. So you don't know? Yeah, no.
Fleek I've heard, but I don't.
Okay. Well, fleek is a word, so it's good.
But she doesn't know what a spinner is.
Well, I'll put it on the chap snat if it goes well. Then if it goes viral, we'll if DJ Khaled picks it up and re-snaps it. I don't know.
I don't think you can re-snap
No,
something.
can't. Well, look, I just snapped right there. We're cool.
Why don't you tell your story there?
By the way, kids, I'm on Snapchat. I'm marketing.
Clarendon.
Check it out. Check it out. I snap once a year. So come on and join me. And then nothing happens. So, yeah.
Tell your story.
What? Okay. We should create a podcasting course, by the way.
Tell your story.
How to do a successful show. Speaking of not following the rules.
Tell your story.
What? Oh, this. Okay. So this is from comicbook.com, by the way. Yes.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Nintendo takes time to reply in Braille to a blind boy's heartwarming thank you letter. Well, that just ruins the whole article right there. I just gave it all away. I hate when you do that, by the way.
It's you that does
when you
that.
preview the show or you give away the
You
hooks.
do that.
Allison, stay on topic. So, like any big corporation, Nintendo can occasionally come across as a bit cold and indifferent. I've never thought of Nintendo.
No, I've never thought of Nintendo.
To be honest with you. It's not
Never once.
Never.
Not even one
Out of
time.
all the gaming companies, it's like, what's the most fun? You'd be like, Nintendo.
Yeah, for sure. I would think Nintendo.
So
hilarious.
maybe the opening of your article not as warm as you thought, but every once in a while they do something that proves they truly care about their fans. Well, it's the only company I think that does.
Yeah, I agree.
A little slow on the mobile uptake, a little slow on the apps, but still doing it well. By the way, now they're coming out with apps. Zelda coming out on the App Store in the near
Awesome.
future. 16 trillion downloads eventually. Back to the article. Japanese Twitter user Kentarock1020 recently posted about a letter his blind son sent to Nintendo and the rather amazing response he got. For the majority of those who can't read Japanese, here's what Kentarock says in his tweet. He says, my son Hibiki is blind and has perfectly cleared every game in the Rhythm Tengoku series, the only game he can play. He sent Nintendo a letter and they responded, sending him such a sincere correspondence to just one person is truly divine customer service. Nintendo, we're anxiously awaiting the next installment in this series. So, Hibiki, who's been blind since the age of 2, loves the Rhythm Heaven game so much, he sent the following thank you letter to Nintendo. Dear Nintendo, my name is Hibiki Sakai, and I am in 5th grade. I am blind, but I've always wanted to play video games like everyone else, but there aren't many games I can play at all. The one game I can really play is Rhythm Tengoku. It's the only game I can enjoy together with others, and I never lose at it. I've gotten perfect scores on all the versions on the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Wii, and 3DS too. So I really, really want you to make more Rhythm Tengoku games, and it's perfectly fine if you make them a little harder too. I think that there are a lot of other kids with visual impairments who want to play video games but can't. So I'd love for you to develop more games for people with handicaps to enjoy playing with others. I will always support you, Nintendo. So Rhythm Heaven's visuals are delightfully wacky but not required. Oh geez, it's the kind of letter that makes game developers' day. Heck, it would make your month career. Apparently the folks at Nintendo were moved because of our young Nintendo fan got a reply only 8 days later written in Braille so he could read it himself.
It's wonderful.
Thank you so much for sending us here at Nintendo your heartwarming letter. We are so happy to hear that you perfected and enjoyed Rhythm Tengoku. Rhythm Tengaku Gold, Mina no Rhythm Tengaku, and Rhythm Tengaku the best. We have passed on your letter to Nintendo's development department. We want to keep making games that everyone can have fun playing, so thank you for your support. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Maybe they could have sent him some free stuff, but other than that, it's good. That's great. That's really nice. And again, it's this whole thing of it's not even, I don't want to call it marketing to one, because I like to think that a company who does something, especially like this, does it because it's the right thing to do. But the marketing to one can also go to everyone,
Yeah,
because it can spread.
I like that we've had a couple stories recently where we talked about the gap and the letter that the girl wrote with her parents' help, and the gap replied to her, like wrote a letter to her.
Right.
And what I love about this is that they took the extra step of writing it in Braille so that the letter went to him, even though it's a child. It shows a lot of respect. Like they could have written a letter to his parents. They didn't need to write a letter to him. It's because they wrote the letter to him that it adds kind of like that extra heartwarming, kind, inclusive sort of message. And it was the same with the gap in this kind of respect for who's writing you and who your customer is. And yes, the parents are probably the ones spending the money, but it's only going to endear the parents more if you respect that the information is from a child. So I really like it. I thought it was great.
It was sent to us many times.
Yeah, many
many
times.
Unlisteners. So thank you all for sending those stories in, because once in a while it's nice to get a good one.
Yeah, because this one I have is
because
not a good one.
Because we got a chock full of bad ones coming up.
So this is part of our education trio of stories. So this comes from theconsumerist.com. Yale Dean apologized for snooty elitist Yelp reviews. So it says, in theory, college deans are supposed to advise and mentor students, sometimes guiding them through times where their worst impulses might get the best of them. Hopefully, Yale students are not following the lead of one dean, who repeatedly used Yelp to make rude, condescending comments about local businesses and her fellow customers. So this dean wrote some really offensive, unnecessarily offensive reviews of restaurants that they did not like. And she said she targeted the nationality of the person. It says, to put it quite simply, if you are white trash, this is the perfect dining out for you. This establishment is definitely not authentic by any stretch of the imagination and is perfect for those low-class folks who believe this is a real night out, over-salted and greasy food. And the side note, employees are Chinese, not Japanese. So the issue is, for me, the issue is that this is unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. If you don't like the food at some place, leave a 1-star Yelp review, say the food is salty. That's the only sentence. The over-salted and greasy food is the only sentence that was necessary in this review. Everything else is uncalled for. But what I really want to talk about is about personal branding. Because here's somebody who in their own life went to a restaurant, left their review, and then ended up in trouble because of what her job is. She's a dean for Yale. So what do you think about this? What was your opinion when you see something like this and that they get a lot of flack for what their job is? They link it immediately to her position at Yale. What do you think about that?
All opinions are my own and a reflection of my employer. Always. Always, always. And here's the problem here. You have somebody in a more of elite position in a school who also has been given the elite designation on Yelp, which she flaunted to coworkers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is a sad thing on its own, by the way, that you're flaunting you're an elite reviewer on Yelp. But the fact that you see this, and we see this, and we'll see this more today in stories. We've had stories in the past, but the obese PhD applicants' tweets, and you have this untouchable feel. And the more you do this, and the more, I got an elite ranking, so I'm going to keep it up like this. I think I'm funny. I think I'm doing this. And then you just start getting this, you're a little bit over well done. Your steak's done here. You're making, and it comes back. And the thing is, there's nothing in her profile that says she's a dean at Yale. By the way, aren't you supposed to be smart if you're a dean at Yale?
Apparently not kind.
That, out of anything.
It's possible she just didn't think that this, I doubt she ever thought this would come back to affect her job in any way.
No, well, because somebody eventually read this and said, who is this person?
Yeah.
Or one of the students saw it and said, because I think it's how this got out. Yeah. She emailed other profs and staff members saying, hey, by the way, I'm a lead on here now. And they looked at it and said, whoa. And somebody just said, nope. Because even if you don't disclose it on your profile, right, you're one LinkedIn search away from figuring out who the person is. And it does come back to bite you, and it does come back to haunt you. Now, mind you, I'm not sure it's useless. I don't.
Apparently, she apologized, said her statement was wrong. There's no two ways about it. Not only were they insensitive, matters related to class and race, they demean the values to which I hold myself and which I offer as a member of this community. And it's like students aren't really buying it.
Yeah, no, you don't. This is because, look, ethics and morals are what you do when you don't think anybody's watching. Yeah. That's what I think it is. And this is where it is here. This is how she feels. This review that we had read. And it doesn't whatever you, and by the way, she's also been put on leave. Yeah. So should somebody lose their job or their livelihood based on a semi-offensive Yelp or a series of reviews like that? The answer is that's up to Yale.
Well, but I do think that there needs to be something in place. I'm not sure if she should lose her job or not, but I mean, I don't feel personally like it wasn't. Everyone's going to think something different about it, right?
Well, because now
depending on how offended you were,
students will think
this is how she feels about these particular group of people.
Trash.
Yeah, that your students are white trash.
Maybe white trash can't get into Yale. I don't like. Well,
I definitely don't think that Yale should be able to just say she apologized and she gets leave and that's the end of it. I think there should be definitely some training or something to make sure somebody's following her in her classrooms to make sure that she's not
she's
putting
dean.
this into her work.
She's a dean, so that's practically Capone level. Like you're untouchable pretty much. Although I don't know if you're covered by a union if you're a dean. That's the thing, right? If you're a prof and a tenured prof, you could murder somebody on the front steps of the school.
No, you couldn't.
And then you'd be like, we should probably put him on a week paid leave. Like it's different, right? It's a different way of doing that. So it's not easy to replace a dean, by the way. What comes with deans, a lot of different things, including connections, money, tenure, a lot of different things. And the employees of Yale are also looking at this to see how Yale reacts. Do they stand up for their employee? Do they agree with them saying no?
What about all their other employees? Like if she's a dean, she's also not only managing students, but she's managing she's in charge. Faculty.
She's in charge.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. And so remember, perception is reality.
Yeah.
So now I think you look at me differently. Will I forget this? Saying something is impact. We just saw that with Kevin Pillar and the Blue Jays, our team here, who said a homophobic slur to a pitcher, and he got suspended for 2 games. But the ramifications now go way beyond that. You're just hurting the human race by saying something like that. But also, he just had that Samsung deal he signed. They had a tweet out there. He's a Samsung influencer. And now brands are like, nope, don't want to associate with that. You are what you say.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to see that, if June did not want to see this on a billboard outside of the Yale campus,
she shouldn't have written it.
Would Yale be proud to show that?
Yeah, she shouldn't have written it.
Right. Is white trash insulting? Like to a big level? Is it like cracker? Like how?
I don't know.
It's not good, but like you're really doing. And by the way, in this whole thing of I can say this because I am that race or this thing, it's like
it's still not okay.
No. Yeah, but if you are white trash, I have the email marketing company for you. Go to myemma.com/unpodcast for tips and tricks on how to be the best whitey you can.
All right, that's enough.
By Emma. But for all races.
He's on medication, everyone.
I am hopped up on Allegra. Not Allegra sinus, though, so we almost saved. That way, I would have been it would have been topless Monday. And by the way, it's Tuesday. So, on with the show. Thanks, Em, as always. I know you regret it. This is from CNN, a small news startup based out of Atlanta, I believe. She's having none of it, by the way. She's now staring at me with this look.
I'm just waiting for you to read your
story. It's a look I get, which is like, you want to move on? Move it on. All right. Prof tweets, trying not to vomit at kindness to soldier. I just gave it away again.
That's what headlines do.
All right, so George Cicerillo says, he tweets, some guy gave up his first class seat for a uniformed soldier. People are thanking him. I'm trying not to vomit or yell about muscle. Muscle? Anyways.
I don't know how you pronounce it. What's his job?
A Drexel University professor.
Gosh, academia is just fantastic this morning.
And many people on Twitter responded to the professor's comments with anger and outrage. He's an associate professor of politics and global studies. Oh, at least you're staying in your lane.
It's also not his first such comment.
Posted the tweet Sunday on his private Twitter account. CNN obtained nothing's private. Children.
It's a private Twitter account.
CNN obtained his tweet from a retweet someone else posted publicly on the social media platform. One critic said Cirillo is exactly what's wrong with American institutions today, fights for free speech unless it contradicts his views. Another criticized the professor's past tweets and bemoaned the fact that Cirillo is deemed worthy of educating young minds. He responded to the reactions to his tweet in a Facebook statement saying, "My tweet has since been fed into and misrepresented by the outrage machine." He said he didn't support the invasion or occupation of Iraq and found the gesture of giving up a first-class seat to a soldier smug and self-congratulatory. Drexel University in Philadelphia responded to his tweet saying the comments were made outside of the classroom, are his own opinion, and do not represent the university's views. Drexel is committed to and vigorously supports our ROTC students on active duty and reserve, student veterans, and alumni who have served in the military. Drexel University Executive Director of Media Relations, Nikki Giannakaris, said in a statement, "This isn't the first time Cirillo has come under fire for a tweet from his personal account. Christmas Eve 2016, he tweeted, 'All I want for Christmas is white genocide.'"
Yeah,
Well,
he's a real peach.
That escalated quickly.
How did that not get him out of his job?
Reports on the tweet popped up on several conservative websites, and the hashtag white genocide was trending the next Monday morning. In response, the university said it would talk to him about his comments. According to CNN's previous reporting, the university also said that genocide comments were utterly reprehensible, easy for you to say, deeply disturbing, and do not in any way reflect the values of the university.
Yes,
Here's
they do.
the thing, they do represent the values of the university, because the university is made up of the people who teach there and who work there.
Yeah,
and
it's absolutely horrifies me that first tweet, the genocide one, is worse than this to me. I mean, I think this is horrible, but that is like blatant hate, calling for violence. It's horrible. How can that be okay? How is that person still allowed to tweet things or teach kids? It makes absolutely no sense to me.
I just think this George guy, who I don't know, is just a bad person.
Yeah, he's a bad person.
He's just a bad person. That's
and he's reflecting that through Twitter.
He's a bad person, and this school chooses to distance itself from the one who they employ. That's their call. But again,
they shouldn't be allowed to say that they support ROTC students and then also not give him any consequences for this.
But this is the same attitude as the one with the Yelp review, right? This is I can pontificate from upon high and say what I want, and the more outrageous, the more I get feedback, and Drexel will never do a damn thing about it because I'm tenured, I'm protected, and they're scared of confrontation.
I was reading, we wrote a chapter in the new book about this service called Nextdoor, and it's kind of a long story. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but they talked about ways to prevent racist comments in social media, and they talked about setting up like a few step process, so making it harder for people to tweet. That like this guy is sitting in his seat, he's having this reaction, he's like, I'm going to write something, people are going to love this, and they do it. And that if you made him wait or made him answer a couple questions or made him say, are you sure you want to, or blah, 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 or flagged some of the words and then said, are you sure you want to use this word, that people are much less likely to spread that kind of hate. And usually we're against hoops and we try to make it as easy as people to share, But I think sometimes slowing people down might help a little bit. It's gross.
Well, and it's just this want and need for grotesque attention on in real time.
Yeah,
and it happens. We just saw it last night, and by the time you hear this, it'll be a few weeks out. But last night's horrible incident in Manchester, in the UK, with the Ariana Grande and the bomb that went off, and a writer, and I hesitate to call him that, tweeted out, multiple
made 2 jokes,
multiple fatalities at an Ariana Grande concert. Funny enough, I wanted to die when I listened to Ariana Grande, and he deleted it, and we took a screenshot and we shared it back out there. So
a lot of people are sharing it.
Forever live and stay out there. And it's just this world of just, this is your mark on the world. This is what you want to say. Like, this is how you want to be seen. This is part of your legacy. This is how you want to affect the world, by saying, I wanted to vomit because somebody gave a soldier. And you can have your feelings about what you want with war, with everything else and what's going on. None of those soldiers chose to start these wars. None of those, they are there. They're standing up. And you're going to want to vomit because somebody gave up their seat because it was self-congratulatory? Did the guy take a bow?
So obnoxious.
Even if the guy took a bow because he gave up his seat, it's not as bad as this.
No.
That's what you decided to leave to the world, was that. It's just... Hurts my soul. And we have to decide now, does that affect the university? And does it not? It's part of their, and now it's part of their legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a story from, so this is really interesting, from the Washington Post. I'm trying to see where the high school was. It says, Connor Balthazar, 17, was in the middle of the study hall when he was called into a meeting with his high school newspaper advisor. A group of reporters and editors from the student newspaper, the Booster Redux, at Pittsburgh High School in southeastern Kansas, had gathered to talk about Amy Robertson, who was hired as the high school's head principal a few months earlier, actually about a month earlier before this article came out. The student journalist had begun researching Robertson and quickly found some discrepancies in her education credentials. For one, when they researched Carleton's University, a private university where Robinson said she got her master's and doctorate degrees a few years ago, the website didn't work. They found no evidence that was an accredited university. So this high school newspaper did a little digging on their new principal, and within a few weeks found out that it was complete fabrication. She didn't have a master's, she didn't have a PhD, and she resigned her position. And what's interesting is that the feedback says everybody kept telling them, stop poking around where your nose doesn't belong. Listen to the adults who've chosen this woman and all this stuff. And I love they use the word easily. It just says they found some discrepancy and easily found out that this university did not exist. And so, this is the kind of thing that we need in kids, that we need in our students, the ability to do research and to empower themselves to know who's teaching them. And the fact that this got through, I don't know how hard it is to hire a principal. I've never hired one, but I would imagine, there's some vetting, but apparently not better vetting than the high school newspaper. So I think they deserve a lot of credit.
I hired hundreds of people at Goodwill when I worked there. You know how many education qualifications I verified?
How many?
Zero.
Well, then you shouldn't be hiring people either.
No. What I'm saying is how rarely it happens. You take people at face value. You said, look, I got my degree. You're like, okay.
Apparently she couldn't produce a transcript. She couldn't prove anything that she'd done. And
now, mind you, I was hiring for retail.
The kids got her.
I was hiring for retail. So
not to educate our youth.
Right, yeah, right. So it might be a little bit different, but it goes on much less than we would realize. This is the same thing. It was the Jays manager from years ago that claimed he came and showed up in army fatigues and say this and this. He never did. It just sounded good.
Yeah.
He wanted to motivate the players.
I think...
I love these kids.
I think these kids are fantastic, and I think we need more of this.
How do we?
So I hope other kids will see the story. And
how do we sponsor their future education?
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
It's great.
So kids who are listening right now, keep digging.
It's great investigation.
Keep
good work.
Digging. Good story
work,
time.
This was a good story.
I like that story. That was
not for that cheaty lady, but
the cheaty lady. It's forever her name now. This is on the Facebooks. Olga Rosmas posted to WestJet's page, and then it started getting shared. She posted, by the way, a must welcome good airline story in
yeah, it's horrible these days.
The shite show of what's been going on in the past few months.
Things are really out of control over there, airline people.
Yeah. Just every airline has said, you know what? Screw it.
Yeah,
screw it.
While all the stories are out, let's just be as
get
horrible
what
as we can.
It's like a price raise, but companies like, well, do it now when we have a chance. It's like, let's just beat them down while we got a chance. So Olga puts, my dad got a call Sunday morning from his mom's nursing home telling him that she wasn't doing so well. I booked him a ticket that same day. When he went to board the plane, they told him his license was expired and he wouldn't be able to get on. His eyes swelled with tears and he told them his mom was sick. The WestJet employee told him to hold on and they would figure something out. They went online and renewed his license for him. They even held up the plane for 10 minutes so he could get on. My dad got there at 1 a.m. and my grandmother passed away at 4. If those WestJet employees hadn't gone above and beyond, he wouldn't have made that plane and he wouldn't have had the chance to say goodbye to his mother. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank WestJet and the amazing employees at the Calgary airport. This has been shared at the time of printing this last night, 7,443 times and liked by over 77,000 people. And part of me says, of course they did.
Yeah, of course.
But there's part of that brand again, right? WestJet is good. Air Canada is not.
Well, Air Canada isn't even the word.
No, but in Canada. And then you flip to the States. So what airlines in the States would you say, that makes sense? It would be Southwest.
Yeah.
Right? We Southwest. And lately, probably Delta.
Yeah, Delta's doing better.
Right. So, or Virgin. Right. So you look at this. So that goes with the brand. This is part of that. That's part of their brand feel. Of course they would.
It's wonderful.
And what a
that they did
wonderful thing to, again, flying stressful enough as it is for most people. And then this, you're racing to get to your mother, who's going to pass away. Like, it's just, again,
WestJet.
kudos to WestJet. Let's make up a word.
You want a made up word?
Yeah.
Don't make any sense. Don't mean no offense. It brings laziness. What is all this craziness?
I'm trying to see what it is. By the way, if you have a made up word yourself you'd like to get to, and this whole section's about just ridiculous words you've seen. We had to make it a segment. Send it into us. Tweet it. Facebook, unmarketing.com, contact form. If we choose your word, we will send you any book of our choice, including the upcoming Unbranding out in October 2017, or an Unpodcast mug. Your choice, but you have to tell us when you hear it.
I wasn't even sure how to pronounce this word. Like, I had to practice. Kninkles.
Kninkles. Can you spell that word for us?
Kninkles. Kninkles.
Kninkles.
Kninkles.
Kninkles. Wayne.
Kninkles.
You're stumping the man who's
He has
gotten the
no
most words
idea.
out of all of them, I think. Doesn't know.
Kninkles. If it helps, it's completely unrelated to business or marketing in any way.
Yeah, that's
so I'm
why-
not too sure why it's a made up word on the show, but Kninkles.
We sometimes need words. Kninkles? Not even a guess. Go.
All right, Dave Shannon sent this in, and it's Kninkles is knee wrinkles.
Yeah, I never
Apparently,
got that.
it's a growing trend of people having their saggy knee skin smoothed out.
It's a procedure.
It's a medical procedure.
Never
Adam.
would have.
It says
come close.
got Kninkles, and then there's like the before and after. One's like really saggy, and one's like
it's like
all nice
it's like
and smooth.
tobesity.
It's like tobesity. That's
From the
right,
league.
from the
Yeah,
league.
yeah.
It's a serious problem. Kninkles.
Really?
I don't know if it's
Is
a
it a
serious,
serious
problem.
problem?
We have to ask Dave. Dave, are you not only an advocate for Kninkles, but also a
customer.
past client? Because if you have before and after pictures, Scott would love to see them. He loves a wrinkly knee.
Yeah?
I don't know.
I'm more of a fan of getting procedures for sprinkles.
I don't know what a scrinkle is, but you need to stop right now. I'm going to end the podcast on that note. Thanks for
We have a
listening,
question. No, we
everyone.
have a question. Wait. There's a question.
All right. Oh, you have the question this week.
I got
What's the question?
here. Hang on, I'm going to pull it up because I want to get it right. So thank you. Same as the word made up word of the week. If you have ask a question and we
send
do
it
on the show,
along.
we'll send you a book or
Clearly,
whatever
we
you want.
have no standards because we just did Kninkles.
Scott Weston had a question. I
Yes.
said, where is the best place for someone opening a new insurance brokerage to put their marketing dollars? Social media, old school print, or some combination of both? Scott, I got some advice for you. When you start an insurance, it's like being a financial planner or anything else. It is going to take a while. That whole business, especially insurance, is about long term. You sign on clients, then eventually they start renewing, you start getting your money, and then you build up a roster of clients and you can sit back and smile. And I firmly believe no amount of advertising will do squat when you start out. No amount of social media spending will do anything. Your entire job is getting to know people, but more importantly, them getting to know you. I would spend all of my time and any of those dollars getting known in my local area. That means I'm going to the Chamber of Commerce events, and you need to find and meet those exponential referrers, those who know other people that would be your customers. So accountants, the top realtors, and find them and go look for them and see who they are and connect with them. Would you be willing to have coffee? I'm just starting this business. I'd love advice. And find those people who are entrepreneurs too, because if you're selling insurance, you're going to run the business. You're an entrepreneur under the definition. And I would find them and I would put it under the relationship because ask them how best to get known in this area. And I would talk to the chiropractors, accountants, financial planners, realtors, and target them and make my goal once a week, at least if not daily, once a day, to have coffee or lunch and take that budget you'd spend and buy them lunch. Take that money you'd spend and spend it on sponsoring a door prize at the monthly Chamber of Commerce get together. Your job, your only focus is to get known. And you do not do that through advertising. Nobody says, I got to find insurance. Let me go look up an ad, right? It's from trusted people. That's how we found our insurance people.
Yeah, and I would suggest too, like, if you're going to, not your money necessarily, but your time, creating some resources for those people, because they're always going to be looking at ways to reach out to their audience. And insurance is one of those things people have a lot of questions with. So the more you can position yourself as an expert by saying to, let's say, the real estate agent wants to put a flyer in with their stuff about insurance, about home insurance, write that for them, have it available so
top
that when
five,
you
top
give
10.
them something, right? So that when you meet with that person who's a real estate agent or a doctor, say, I have this resource for you. Would you like to use it? It's free. It gives good information. It'll help you reach out to your clients and then have your name associated with that. Because the more you can position yourself and help and give to those people before you're asking from them to be connected, then the better place you're going to be. So I agree with Scott. I would spend your money meeting as many people as possible and your time creating content to help those people reach their markets.
And then I'd go the next step and do the value add for them. Once you get to know that top realtor, that top accountant, you can say, look, I'm more than happy to do a lunch and learn with your clients about this pressing insurance issue.
Yeah.
Whatever that is. And then you use that money, you pay for the lunch, you do those type of things. But it's going to take time. Nothing will expedite it. It will take time to get known. It's a very, very steep hill to climb at the start. And it's wonderful once it gets going. But you need to make sure that I would spend all that time, focus money, energy going that way and connecting first in your local and focus on a local area first.
That was very wise and unmedicated sounding.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have moments of lucidity.
Yeah, that was great.
Right. But rare. But when they're there,
amazing.
You got to capture that on film. Yeah. So that was it. That was probably the best thing I've said in 180 episodes. That and sprinkles. From all of us to all of you. Talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and visit theunpodcast.com. And remember, friends don't let friends use QR codes.